Welcome to Trope Stories, a show about photographers, creatives, dreamers, makers, entrepreneurs, and their personal journeys. I'm Terry Mayday, and on today's show is Ope Odueyungbo, a London-based photographer and influencer who has worked with brands like Absolute Vodka, Adidas, American Express, Audi, BMW, Dom Perignon, Havana Club, Huawei, Puma, Timberland, the West Ham United Football Club, and more. His work has appeared in the Trope City Edition's award-winning London book, as well as his own solo book called Parallel Lines, which is part of Trope's Emerging Photographer series. Ope has traveled all over the world for professional and personal work, from the UK to the US, from Asia to Africa. This is his story. Hey Ope, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm great. Not too bad. I hope you're good.
It's nice to see you as always. I'm in Chicago. You're in London. Can you update us? What is, our coffee shops open? Our restaurants open? People wearing masks?
No, they have been open, and it is now mandatory to wear masks in public enclosed spaces. All coffee shops and restaurants, they've been open now for a while. And we've actually got this interesting new government initiative where, they're doing 50% off. So it's actually encouraging people to go into, and sit down and eat in restaurants and, cafes.
I have to ask you, I know you're a huge football fan. Your Instagram handle is @GreatArsenal. How's the Arsenal Football Club, man?
Well, we've just finished probably one of our most worst seasons ever. But, we finished it on a high. We won the FA Cup. So, I'm happy about that. But, there's much major improvement for, to be made for next season.
Well, always looking up, right?
Yeah, have to be. Have to.
In your book, you talk about good vibes only. Have you been able to stay positive during this pandemic?
I'm not gonna lie, it has been disheartening, at times, but at the same time, I feel that this is a journey that, it's not forever. This is a time that we're currently going through that, I feel that, it's just a short space of time. It's not going to be a thing where it's going on forever. And, I have to have the faith that, we're going to get through this time, and it could only make us stronger.
Where did you learn to think like that? Because I think all of us have been tested more than perhaps we ever even thought we could be, whether it's, financially or emotionally, in regards to work and personal life. How did you learn to think like that, to think positive even the hardest times?
Well, all glory to God for me and, my family, my upbringing. They've been by my side, through thick and thin, and they've supported me with, everything I do. So I think it's a big part of my upbringing, has led to this and led to my thinking and, also, just having faith as well.
Ope, can I ask you about Black Lives Matter?
Yes, of course.
I wanted to get your sense of, again, we're in Chicago, you're in London, and just what does it feel like over there in terms of social justice and this feeling? What is it like for you and for your family?
Well, it's a worldwide issue, and it's something that, has been needing to be discussed for many, many years now, and I'm not gonna lie, it's been uncomfortable for many people, but at the same time, in order to, have change, we have to go through uncomfortable situations. We're not gonna change the situation without, people feeling uncomfortable. So it's been like a weird time, but at the same time, it's been needed. It's been necessary, and for me and many other people as well.
Have you seen a friend or a company or a brand respond in a way that's not only relevant maybe, but like meaningful to you?
I've seen, a few brands that, they're trying. Obviously, it's a thing where, everyone kind of needs to, educate themselves a bit better, in order, before they act. And I've seen a few brands, do that, and they are trying. At the same time, it's a thing where it needs to be an ongoing thing. It can't just be, okay, yeah, we do this and then everything's okay again. So I do feel, I have seen brands trying, and it would be nice for them to continue that. When it comes to, like, say for instance, hiring black creatives, treating black creatives the same as they treat everyone else. It's an important issue. I feel that definitely needs to be addressed, because you get some brands that they don't really treat people equally. It's not okay in this industry.
I mean, I can't remember a time where it feels like we're managing these many things simultaneously, and so many people across the world are impacted at the same time, from the pandemic and Black Lives Matter to just all the social unrest for a myriad of reasons. Has that changed at all the way that you look through your lens?
I mean, in a way. I mean, for me personally, I guess it's just a matter of being more, vigilant and, aware of my surroundings and, again, how I can come across as well. Because I feel with a lot of things going on in the world currently, people are second guessing quite a lot. It could be anything really. So, it has made me more vigilant, and aware of, how I'm coming across.
Did you participate in any protests or walks? Did you bring your camera? How did you participate?
So yes, there was one protest that I attended, and I wanted to shoot, and which I did. And this one was a peaceful sit-down protest where everyone gathered, and it was more or less like a music show. People wanted to step up and sing songs, or it was different poems as well. So again, it was more like a talent kind of, I don't call it like a show, but people just wanted to come together really, and it's the unity of coming together and just being one with everyone. And it was nice to see, because it was everyone of different races, and it was great to just be able to photograph that, and just to be in that space of people just being unified and coming together for a good cause.
Wow, I love how you said unity. That's just a great word. What did you take away from it? Did you shoot a lot? Was it more a moment for yourself?
I mean, it was a bit of both, Again, I didn't shoot as much as I wanted to, but I think that was just because I was basically just in awe of the unity that I saw. It was just like, it was great to see, there were so many people there. Again, I wasn't really expecting it to be as big as it was, but it did. And, it's great to see.
So can we back up a little bit to March and April when the pandemic hit, and I think all of us were like, gosh, is this going to be a week or two? And here we are several months into this. What were those first few days like when it got really quiet?
Well, I mean, for me personally, I thought to myself, this can't go on for, more than, a month, I'd say. So for me, I was just saying that, yeah, we'll be out of this. So I didn't really give it the, what do you say, I didn't really give it the attention that it should have been given, because I thought, we'd just get past this in a matter of, maybe weeks. So no, it was, as time went on, it was a bit difficult, when it got to the point where, jobs that I had lined up, they were saying that, we can't do this anymore, due to what's going on in the world. So it was hard. It was hard. And to the point where I was doing a job actually. I was employed part-time at an agency, and they actually had to let me go, in March. I started it at the start of the year, January. It was going really well. I enjoyed it, and it was just unfortunate they had to let me go by March time. I mean, understandable, but it's what happens. People have gone through the same thing.
I'm sorry to hear that. Do you feel like is there any momentum? Are jobs starting to come back? What kind of sense are you feeling right now?
So last month it started really picking up for me again, with the work, which, I'm really proud and happy about.
Good.
But back then it was hard, and, again, I had to kind of focus and kind of shoot stuff for myself indoors, whether it was just to get my creative juices flowing again, or just not to fall out of, love for the passion of it all. So I had to do stuff for myself, shoot my own projects, here and there. I mean, a lot of which hasn't seen the light of day, but it's all testing, trial and error,
I want to talk about your book in a minute, but first let's talk about the Trope Gallery opening that was way back in November of 2019, pre-COVID, of course. We had hundreds of people together in London. How was that for you? That was a really fun night.
That was an amazing experience for me. Again, just having everyone come together for this artwork. Basically, it was just a great feeling. Just having work on the wall, just for everyone to see. It was really an honor, truly an honor to be a part of, and I'm glad that I got to be a part of it with the amazing photographers that were obviously on show. As you saw, it was just a great experience overall.
And it's so cool to have your work displayed. I mean, there were family and friends there, and I think it was just a celebration of your work and London and the way you see London. So that was great to be a part of.
It was.
So Parallel Lines, congratulations, man. Beautiful book.
Thank you.
And you share your photographs from, of course, London, but you go to Cuba and across Asia, and there's a very personal trip that you take to, Nigeria, which is incredible to see kind of professional and personal work side by side. But before we get into too much detail, what is the title of the book, Parallel Lines? Can you tell us what that means?
Right, so Parallel Lines, with my work, I always love to incorporate lines within my work, if it's leading lines or just something that makes the viewer, look into it. I love to make the viewer's eyes draw into like a specific particular subject. So that could be across, architectural work or, portraiture. So I just felt, parallel lines, between the two, So you've got the portraiture side of things and then the architectural side of things, as well as street as well. So, no matter what it is, I always kind of try to incorporate lines into them. I mean, I know it's not always possible, but, I always try,
No, you do a great job with that. And I can see several examples, particularly in the London work, even if you're shooting architecture alone or if you're including a talent or a model, you really do that beautifully. There's a quote at the beginning of the book.
Yes.
I think it came from one of your posts, and I wanted to ask you about it, and I think it's relevant to now. It says, "The path of life is never without trials and tribulations. Through this comes the openness to receive greatness." Why did you post that, and is that something you believe?
Yeah, no, totally. For me, I always say, and I believe that we're all going to go through trials and tribulations during this lifetime. This life is not meant to be easy, but I just think it's how we react to these situations in life, so we could choose to, just give up totally, or we could just choose to, go through and, learn from the experiences, which in tune would make us stronger, for next time that we face tough times.
Well said. When you were a kid, were you the one that always had a camera in their hands? I mean, how did you come to this as a career? Are your parents in the arts, or?
No, my parents definitely not. It's not a thing for them really. So for me, when I was at primary school, I was always into like arts and drawing and painting and stuff like that. So being creative from early, was something that I was very much into anyway. So I think it really evolved when I, got to school, and then I, was introduced to graphic design. That's what I, had my passion into back then. And then, I got into college, and then, it was just a matter of, what, I'm going to stick with graphic design, but I'm also going to try my hand at photography as well. So I found out that, photography was actually my strong point. So I kind of left the graphic design side of things and, jumped shipped. Yeah.
Can you share the story of your sharing your work in front of your peers and your professor and your graphic design work? And there was kind of a moment there where you didn't go this way, but you decided to go this way. What was that like?
Well, no, it was actually at a uni interview. It was one of those group uni interviews, like for, to get a place on a uni course. So it was a graphic design course, graphic design and photography actually. So, we were in a circle, everyone had to show their graphic design work at the time. So, at the time I was just looking around the room and thinking, everyone else's work is just amazing. And, my one is, I knew it wasn't up to standard, but, it got to my one. And, the tutor literally just ripped me apart. He ripped me to shreds in front of everyone. And, it was just a thing where I felt so embarrassed, but at the same time, I kind of knew that what he was saying was actually the truth. And for me personally, it was just okay, I feel that, I'm stronger at photography anyway. So, I'm just gonna pursue that instead. Well,
you found your gift and you found your voice, man.
Yeah. Gladly.
I think of Chicago as, we love this city. It's a beautiful world-class city and it feels big. But then when we visit London, and we absolutely, one of our favorite cities to shoot in and to be in and to visit friends. And did London help shape part of who you are?
I'd say so. At the end of the day, London is where I was born. It was where I grew up. It's where I learned my trade, it's where I learned the majority of the stuff that makes me the person I am today. It's very diversified here, and I love that. So it's I'd say it's been a big part of my life, being here and just, living here.
That's cool. Let's talk about some early influences. Henri Cartier-Bresson, widely considered the master of candid street photography and the decisive moment. When you decided to go photography, did you connect with his early work, and was there any kind of inspiration there for you?
No, I did. So with him, he was one of the first photographers that I looked at and studied. And this was back in college, when I first started photography. It was only street photography moments that I wanted to capture. That was all that I was doing. And, his work was a massive influence to me at that point. And it still is, at the end of the day, he's literally the master of, capturing the decisive moment. And, a lot of his work inspired my early work.
That's very cool. Let's just talk about that kind of spontaneity. You and I have had the pleasure of shooting together in London, and us capturing you from the filming side. We're capturing you shooting. And it's just cool to see you in action, because I feel like there are some of those moments of spontaneity when you're out there. Can you walk us through, how much do you plan and how much do you, rely on the light or the location or the combination of all of them to still kind of hold on to spontaneity so that those moments feel real?
Well, most of the times it's mostly just a get up and kind of go kind of thing, because I find a lot of the content that I capture, a lot of it is, when I not actually planned it, so it could be a situation where I just go out and I, see something. And I wasn't necessarily expecting to come across it. So, you take the picture and it's like, okay, wow, I didn't actually plan to go to this area or plan to see that person or, whatever it may be. So I find when you're spontaneous about these kind of things, it shows, and you kind of get the images that you're really happy with.
Let's look at some images from the book, Opie. I love, there's an image on page 20 that I just love. You have someone standing in the median. How hard is that to do? You've got traffic coming on both sides, and where is that, and how did you do it?
This was, I can remember where this is now. Barbican, actually. So it was a tunnel in Barbican area. And it's as I've always said, I love to capture lines and lead in lines. So I've walked past through this tunnel so many times. So it's one of those ones where I just said I want to try and do like a slow shutter speed shot here, and I was with another photographer, who is the person standing in the middle of the shot. And I mean, it took a few good tries, we were there for quite a while. So again, like with photography, you have to be patient, so I had to have a lot of patience to get this shot, and I'm glad it came out as I expected in the end.
Opie, there's another couple images on pages 26 and 27, which I really love. I noticed how you're not taking us to Tower Bridge and the other icons of London. You like to show the moody and gritty side of the city, which I think is it's just amazing to see it in such a cinematic way. Tell us about this location.
No, it's great because, I love to shoot the gritty side of London as well, because again, not many people, know or realize that, we have these, areas in London, and, the Tower Bridge is nice and good, but at the time, you have to show all London. I feel, so it's always great to go to these gritty kind of shot areas, and take a shot and make it look beautiful. Because a lot of people do appreciate it. I for one do appreciate going to these areas and shooting them and documenting them.
It's very cool to see these areas and the character and personality that you wouldn't otherwise see in the normal tourist areas. Opie, there's an image on page 70, and apparently you knew masks were cool a long time ago before they were mandated by the entire world. Do you ever run across locations like this where it's actually, are you nervous to shoot in? Where is this?
I mean, I kind of went through a phase in my photography journey where, locations like this was all that I was searching for. I love to shoot the derelict, abandoned places of London, and a lot of them, were places that, we weren't really meant to be in. But, this one in particular, it was a spot in Shoreditch, and, it was very easy to get into. So, I just thought, why not, let me go in there and shoot my shots and, get the content that I want to get. And thankfully, I was able to capture this image.
It's great, man. You've done a lot of influencer work for brands like Adidas, Puma, Timberland, American Express, Absolute Vodka, and more. I'm sure the list goes on and on. But Can you talk about how your personal work is, how important is your personal work, and does your personal work, and when you're just shooting for yourself, does that help you get your professional work? To start with, it was my personal work that, led me to my first, influencer job, basically. So, at the same time, you do have to remember your personal work and keep shooting for yourself as well, because you're going to get some brands or some companies that kind of want to change the way you shoot or change your style up a bit. And, that's fine. But at the same time, you have to remember, the style that, first got you to where you were, basically. So in my case, I when I shoot for myself, there's a certain particular style that, I love to maintain. And, for me at this moment in time, it's a thing where, I tell this to the client, whoever it may be, because some clients may not want that style, and other clients, they may just, want you particularly for that style. So, again, it's just one of those ones for me that, you just sometimes have to differentiate the two. There's some amazing personal work in the book. Page 82, there's a beautiful series of photographs in a row with your grandmother. I can't imagine traveling to another country and meeting my grandmother for the first time. What was that like?
No, it was a great experience, because for me, growing up as a child, we always used to speak to, my grandmother on the phone, myself and my younger brother and older sisters. So, this went on for, a number of years. So it was great to finally be able to go there and meet her face to face for the first time, and just show her that, this is what I do and this is what I love to do. And again, it was just another situation where I got to share my passion with her.
You definitely got to share your passion, but I was thinking about, you talk about in the book that you're not sure why you didn't visit earlier. And, life gets busy and who knows why you didn't. But do you feel lucky that you had the gift of your, technical and creative and passionate side to be able to kind of capture this trip for your family?
No, of course. I'm glad that I was able to go there when I did, because if I had gone there like years before, it wouldn't have been as a photographer, so it was great that I got to do it the time that I did. I was happy with the images that I got from the trip, and I was happy overall with the, family members that I got to visit.
There's some kids that you photographed on pages 97 and 98, and I just, does the camera create, these connections that sometimes couldn't happen? Does the camera create intrigue?
Of course, it does, because, in that particular situation, once the kids saw my camera, it was all, they started huddling around me, so it was just, they were happy that I even had it. They wanted me to take their picture. So, again, it was just another situation where I was sharing my passion with, others, and, I was getting joy from it, and so they were as well.
Absolutely. So on to Cuba. There's a great image on page 112.
Yeah.
And the caption at the bottom talks about the differences between kids in London and Cuba. I'm curious as your observations.
Yeah, so, walking around Cuba, there was always kids playing out in the street, from basically morning till late night, so it was like, for me, it was a bit of a weird one, because, you come down to, London, and, a lot of the kids here, is focused on their gadgets and, their screens and all of that, so it's just, for Cuban kids, I think it's just a matter of just, we want to just come out and play, and, enjoy life. It wasn't about, gadgets or, screens or phones or whatever it may be, it's just, they were enjoying life, and it was good to see.
It's cool to capture that, and it's a good reminder for all of us. Get outside and enjoy life and get off the screens for a little bit.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
So what about the current state with the pandemic? You said that you're feeling some momentum coming back, which is great, but how long has it been since you traveled?
Gosh, it's been a very long time. Yeah, I've not traveled this year. So, last time I traveled was last year.
You miss it?
Oh, yeah. So, no, I do. I'd be lying if I said I didn't. But at the same time, I know, like, for the health of, others and myself, I'm just going to stay put for now, because it'll be the right thing to do for me anyway. So, once it's safe to do so, then who knows?
Ope, I wanted to ask you as well about your family and your parents. You mentioned that your parents are not in the arts, but when you discovered the arts and pursued the arts as a career, did they support you, and what was that like?
Yeah, no, they did 100%. And it's crazy because for traditional Nigerian parents to support a child that wants to go through the creative path, as a career as well, it's kind of unheard of. So for me, like, and amongst my other friends who were of the same descent, it was like, for them, I was like, what, your parents allowed you to do that or study that? And I was like, yeah, why wouldn't they? So it was great. They supported me 100%, and they still do. And I think that's what kind of pushed and motivated me as well, just to continue pursuing it, and just to continue getting better, and just continue to do what I'm doing, really. So I've had the full support of not only them, but my whole family, my entire family. They've been great.
That's awesome. I had a similar experience where my parents supported this path as well. And, it's a very unknown, mysterious path when you start. And it's not this graduation that happens in a very linear fashion. and it can be hard for people to embrace, but I'm so glad to hear that, because that's helped propel you and your success, and more to come, right?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. During the pandemic, have you had creative challenges? I mean, have you felt like, wow, streets are empty, I'm gonna hop out and go shoot? Or do you feel less motivation or inspiration to go out?
I mean, for me personally, it was less motivation. You know, again, like, you know, I've stuck to the guidelines. You know, it wasn't advisable to go out. You know, so you know, I mean, I know there was a lot of other photographers that were capturing empty streets, but you know, for me personally, you know, I could do that any other time. You know, it just takes a matter of getting up early. You know, so yeah, no, but in the house, you know, there was definitely a lot less motivation. No, as I mentioned previously, I did try to, you know, shoot stuff, and which I did in the house, and you know, try to be creative with what I was creating as well. You know, some of them were, you know, successful, others wasn't, but you know, it's all about trial and error when it comes to photography, anyway. So you know.
Opie, any other experiences that you want to talk about, just being involved in the book, or sharing your book, or the awards that you guys have won?
Yes. So, you know, during everything that's led to the book, you know, it's been a great, wonderful experience. You know, I've had a brilliant support network. You know, I have to, you know, shout out my family, you know, my girlfriend. She's been amazing in the support of me and, you know, what I do. And it's just like a proud moment, you know, to be able to say that, you know, I've got this book, and you know, it's a body of my work which I'm proud of, and you know, it doesn't end here. You know, it could only go up. No matter what happens in life, you know, we have to continue doing what we love, and you know, sharing our passions with others. And I feel that, you know, this is what I'm doing, and this is what I intend to continue to do.
Well, it's been great talking to you, man. You're part of our Trope family, and from Chicago to London. Thanks so much. We'll see you soon,
Appreciate
okay?
everything. Thank you. Take
Bye-bye.
care.